Bonjour et bienvenue à notre réunion de midi. Nous sommes le jeudi 18 septembre 2025. Avant de prendre vos questions, nous avons deux courtes annonces. D'abord, veuillez noter qu'une réunion du Conseil environnement se tient aujourd'hui à Bruxelles. Le commissaire Extra y représente la Commission. Durant cette réunion, les ministres échangeront sur la proposition d'amendement à la loi européenne sur le climat, qui vise à établir un objectif climatique intermédiaire contraignant pour 2040. Ils discuteront également de la contribution déterminée actualisée de l'Union européenne au titre de l'accord de Paris et notamment une déclaration d'intention à ce sujet. Une conférence de presse avec le commissaire Extra aura lieu à l'issue de la réunion prévue aux alentours de 16h40. Nous vous invitons à réserver vos questions sur ces sujets pour cette conférence de presse dédiée. Now let me extend a warm welcome to the two groups of visitors who are joining us in the press room today. You are 20 representatives, I am told, from a dozen Czech universities and 15 Romanian journalists. We hope you enjoy your time in Brussels and in particular here at the European Commission, the engine of European integration. And with that, we can now open the floor for your questions. Mose.
Thank you, Olof, and hey in Swedish. By the way, I see that Nordin is not here. Both of us tried to ask questions yesterday to High Representative Kallas and the commissioners. We didn't succeed. I can't ask any question on his part. I would like to ask two questions which concern me a bit. One is about related to the sanctions package yesterday against Israel. And the first one is the issue of the recognition of the state of Palestine. I think most of us agree that the two-state solution must be kept alive. I wonder, what about the timing? Does the Commission assess whether this is the right timing, considering the current far-right Israeli government, which is still in power and which vehemently opposes a two-state solution? So probably any peace process towards that solution will not be launched for the time being. And it could also provoke an extreme response by them, as we've seen before, with more settlements and annexation of occupied territories. The other question, the other risk of let's say, a negative side effect is the issue of anti-Semitism. I think we can also agree that the Israeli government's war policy fuels anti-Semitism in Europe, but I'm also concerned whether this package could increase anti-Semitism here. We heard yesterday that the EU bilateral assistance to Israel will not affect grants to anti-Semitism, but that the grants to the International Holocaust Remembrance Center in Jerusalem, Yad Vashem, and not to EU member states. So my question here is how can that negative side effect in Europe, in the EU, be prevented?
Mose, tack för dina frågor. Thanks very much for your questions. On the two-state solution, and I will invite Anita to come to the stage if she wants to complement anything I say, President von der Leyen has been very clear in her State of the Union address, which set the scene for yesterday's package of measures. The two-state solution has been, is and will remain the priority for the European Union in this complex geopolitical question. And in response to your question, building on what the President said, we believe that now is the most important time of all to reinforce that commitment. You heard that very clearly from the High Representative yesterday, along with Commissioners Šefčovič and Šuica. I can also remind you, as I think Anwar mentioned already, that the President will participate in an event dedicated to the two-state solution in New York next week to maintain precisely this momentum. So, in response to your question, it has never been more important for the European Union to reinforce, to restate and to push the priority of the two-state solution. And as regards your second question, again, we have been very, very clear from this podium The European Union condemns anti-Semitism in all its forms, and we need to separate, in as far as such a separation is possible, the work we are doing in respect of the two-state solution and the work we do to fight anti-Semitism in all its forms. So I hope that gives an answer to your question. If you have follow-ups, I'm happy to take them, but I think we've been very clear on the topic of the package we brought forward yesterday. We don't have a whole pile more to say, but we will, of course, take your questions. So, Musa, do you have a follow-up, or is that clear enough? Okay. Thank you. As we have started on this topic, we will continue. Please.
Non, c'est sur un autre sujet.
OK, mais dans ce cas, on va voir s'il reste des questions sur Israël, Gaza. Helena, I see your hand online, and now it is gone. Other questions on Israel, Gaza for us today? That not being the case, we turn to other topics. Please.
Merci Olivier Beau, agence France Presse. J'ai une question suite à une déclaration de la présidente mardi sur le calendrier pour les énergies fossiles russes, où elle a laissé entendre que celui-ci allait être accéléré. Alors, je voulais savoir ce que ça voulait dire. Est-ce que la date du 2027 reste valide ou est-ce qu'elle va être changée? Merci.
Merci pour la question. On ne peut pas aller au-delà de ce que la présidente a dit dans son message sur réseau social. Elle a dit qu'on va faire du travail pour accélérer le processus de découpler l'Union européenne et des produits énergie russes. Bientôt, on aura le 19e paquet de sanctions. Ces questions vont figurer parmi ce paquet, mais à ce stade-là, on ne peut pas dire plus. Mais si Anna Kaisa veut rappeler sur le travail qu'on fait pour effectuer ce decoupling, on est content de le faire. Follow-up.
Yes, please. Just do you confirm the date of 2027 for this decoupling of Russian fossil energy? And you mentioned the 19th package. Do you have a date? I mean, do you know when you will present this package? Thank you.
Whether I know or not is irrelevant because we do not comment on timings for our packages. We present them when they are ready to be presented, and that will remain the case. And for your first question, I pass the floor to Anna Kaisa.
So, on the presentation or the proposal, or the repower proposal to phase out Russian fossil fuels. So it's important that we now treat this separately. We're asking about the timeline. This timeline is in the proposal that we made in June. As we have been saying all along since we launched the Repower EU plan in 22, that the sooner the better. And this remains our position. And we made the proposal in June this year. And it has timelines for both short-term contracts and long-term contracts. And the year 2027 is indeed one of them. And there is for long-term contracts 1st of January 2028. These dates were in the proposal. But as Olof also mentioned, now it is very important that we respect the democratic process of approving Commission legislation, which is that we make the proposal, and it is now for the Council, meaning the EU member states, as well as the European Parliament, to give the final shape with their amendments to this proposal. We have, as from the Commission side, we have always said that the sooner the phase-out, the better.
Many thanks, Anna Kaisa. Do we have other questions for Anna Kaisa relating to energy, or if it's related on sanctions, I can take it. Jorge.
Yes, hello. It's on this, Anna Kaisa, as you explain now the roadmap. One of the things that it's not included in the roadmap I think it's the issue of oil, because we know that there's a ban on Russian oil that was imposed through sanctions, and there's an exemption to these sanctions because to allow the provisions of the Druzhba pipeline to Hungary and Slovakia. Do you think it's now the time appropriate to revise this exemption that was granted more than 3 years ago, if I believe? Thank you.
Jorge, we've already explained that we can't comment on what may or may not feature in future sanctions packages, and therefore we're also not going to get into answering questions around what we believe at this point should or shouldn't be done. The President has tweeted that she wishes to accelerate the process on decoupling our dependence from Russian energy, and yes, oil is included in that. Thanks, Anna Kaisa, indeed. And as we have said, we expect to present the 19 sanctions package soon. Please bear with us on that. Other questions for Anna Kaisa on energy, please.
Hi, I'm Christine Mundwer from Deutsche Welle. Do you have a figure that we could be reporting on officially on what EU countries are still spending on Russian fossil fuels?
We do have estimates, but we are not buying anything ourselves. So it comes with that caveat that we have information of the volumes, etc. But I can look for anything that we would have where we are at the moment. We have the volumes for sure, which is public information, but to a certain level of granularity, because we do not have access to contracts that are done between private companies. So on the prices, which also depends a little bit on the market situation, but I can surely check if you need a broader figure of kind of approximately where we are now, because obviously this number has been coming down since 2022 as part of the Repower plan.
Thank you, Anna Kaisa. Hold on a second, Mose. I want to see if anyone else has questions on energy for Anna Kaisa in the room or online. Go ahead.
It works this way. Federica Bianchi, L'Espresso. Just a follow-up on the question. It would be interesting to know exactly how much is going down and what are the channels through which fossil fuels comes from Russia into European Union. One of which, for instance, the Turk Stream channel, I would like to know how much gas goes through that and to which countries still. There should be 2 or 3 or even 4 before, maybe now only 2 or 3. But can you provide some detailed information, please?
I can for sure point you to the place online where all of this information is available. So if you get back to me after the midday, I will point you to the information, because obviously we're talking about a fairly complex network or comprehensive rather than complex, comprehensive network of pipeline infrastructure at the moment. But the main point, obviously politically, is that these numbers are coming down and as they should and will continue to do so. But on the exact volumes via each pipeline, just to not give false information and say complete nonsense from the podium, I prefer to check that and point you to the website where all of this information is available, if that's all right with you.
Thank you for your question. Anyone else on energy for Anna Kaisa? Musa, go ahead. Short and sweet, Musa.
Because it's related to previous question, I think, which you tried to reply last time. And I wonder, Anna Kaisa, if you also can comment on the issue whether, let's say, the EU commitments in its joint statement or deal with the United States about buying fossil fuels in the coming next year. If we don't know we don't own the prices, but we know the volumes and so on. But is it possible on your part, from the Commission's part, to already now to estimate whether these future purchases of American fossil fuel will exceed what we now are buying, continue to buy from Russia or not? Thank you.
The logic of the political commitment that we concluded with or made with the Americans as part of the trade agreement in summer has an energy part to it, which basically says that we would be buying energy products, commodities worth $750 billion for the span of 3 years. So this does not mean that all this money will be used on buying LNG, for example. So the logic behind it is that we will be phasing out Russian LNG, for example, Russian fossil fuels, full stop. And our industry still needs natural gas for the foreseeable years. So we need to, these volumes that we're no longer buying from Russia need to come from somewhere. And the United States were absolutely instrumental already in 22 when Russia cut off gas to Europe, and we had to find alternative sources. And we have been also very, very consistent already before the second Trump administration took office, that we do see potential to buy more LNG, for example, from the US. Again, it is first and foremost, there's a need to make up for the volumes that we're no longer importing from Russia. And there is obviously LNG market, for example. I mean, an LNG, again, just to remind that LNG is not the only thing that we would be buying from the US, but it is one of the commodities that we're already importing quite a lot. But of course, LNG market is a liquid market, and then it is the companies taking these decisions, and then our role as the Commission is to facilitate and to help for businesses to find each other, to see what the demand is, and to help our companies as is requested from us to make this happen. But again, the point is not that this 750 will be used on buying LNG. It includes oil, it includes nuclear fuel and nuclear equipment as well.
Many thanks, Anna-Kaisa, for this comprehensive answer. I remind you also that we published a very detailed fact sheet on the energy aspects of the EU-US agreement that's available online, and we encourage you to read it. Other questions for Anna-Kaisa on energy or the other files she covers? I see no hands in the room. I see no hands online. Thank you, Anna-Kaisa. Other topics for us today? Jan.
Hello, John Papacelli, Bloomberg News. I'm not 100% sure for once who is supposed to answer this question. It's about the upcoming Moldovan elections and the possibility that there might be Russian interference on social media. I was just wondering whether, as happened in previous cases, the Commission, DG Connect, the DSA unit, are collaborating with Moldovan authorities to get steeled for any such occurrence.
Thanks for your question. Our digital Supremo, Toma, will give you an answer.
Hi, Jan. You won't get rid of me. So indeed, I mean, we cooperate very closely also with Moldova. This also applies, of course, in the field of online social media practices. What we're doing concretely is, of course, is to share best practices, share the experience we have in how we make sure that online platforms also protect our elections, the integrity of our elections, and the fact that users in the EU should be able to make free and informed decisions ahead of a vote. So, of course, we exchange with Moldova like with all like-minded partners.
Thanks, Toma. And I would also just add, from the presidential perspective, in the Soteu address, the President made very clear the dangers to our democracy of disinformation. That's true in the European Union. That's true for democracies outside the European Union. And for our friends who are visiting here, we count on you to help us in that battle, to fight disinformation, to push truth-based narratives and fact-based reporting, to fight disinformation. In the President's speech, she noted that we need to do more to protect our media and independent press, which is why we will launch a new media resilience programme and various other initiatives. So, Jan, you have a follow-up.
For interrupting your PSA. My question is, concretely, is there anyone from the Commission that is going to be on the ground ahead or during the elections?
So I'm not aware of anyone going there. Again, let me maybe just come back to one very fundamental point, is that elections are the sole competence of member states and third countries. We have no say in whatever is happening in third countries, nor even in our member states. This is really their competence. The only thing we are doing is to share our experience. We had very successful roundtables, you know that very well, Jan, ahead of elections happening here in the EU, be it European elections or elections at national level. So, of course, to make sure that platforms do not have an influence or algorithmically promote or shadow ban political parties. So this is, of course, something we look carefully at, but from a platform's perspective, and we never go further than that or have a say in how this is organized at national or third country level.
Many thanks. As we have Thomas on stage, do we have other questions on the many files he covers? Please, go ahead.
Carla Meyer for Les Echos. It's a related question. There are also elections coming up in Czechia and the Netherlands, and I would like to know if the Commission will, as it did with Germany, I think, organize roundtables to help the national authorities to debunk fake news.
We are always happy to help our member states and to organize these roundtables like we did in the past. I'm not aware of anything that has been planned for now with both of these member states. Let's just make one point again. We have several proceedings under the DSA ongoing against certain platforms and the potential impact they could have had in elections here in the EU. So, of course, whatever happens in elections could potentially feed into these investigations. But once again, member states are the only ones in the driving seat. We have no say here. Our only focus is on platforms.
Thanks, Thomas. Other questions to Thomas on digital files? Mose, short and sweet.
It'll be short, but perhaps not sweet. It's also about elections, but more about what you said yourself, Olof, about the importance of media freedom and protection of journalists, which is basic, let's say, for fair and free elections in every democratic country. And you mentioned also this new initiative which the President announced in her speech, resilience package, initiative for media freedom and protection of journalists. I would like to know if you have any details about that. I'm asking this because, as you know, there was an incident here in Brussels where one of our journalistic colleagues was subject to a raid by Belgian police who came without a police warrant and seized his computer and so on. Oh, no, yes. I just wonder if there is something in that initiative which could prevent things from that to happen here in Brussels. And
Mose, I'm cutting you off now. We know who you're talking about. We know the issue you've raised. We've been very clear that an ongoing legal investigation, I assume, is happening at member state level. We don't interfere with those, and we're not going to take any questions like that again. Please don't ask it. In relation to your first question, I will bring Marcus up in a second, but first I'm going to check if there are other questions for Thomas in the room or online. I don't see hands. In that case, I invite Marcus to the podium to tell you if we have any information to share at this point about the Media Resilience Programme initiative, which will support independent journalism and media literacy, announced by the President in her Soteu address. Marcus.
Thank you very much. Yes, as Olaf said, this is something that the President mentioned in her EU speech, one of the priorities. And as President von der Leyen said, the program will support independent journalism and media literacy. The program will underline our efforts to support and contribute to a sustainable news media sector, as well as to reinforce the democratic resilience of our societies, including by the strengthening of media literacy. It will come in it has been mentioned together and has to be seen in the context with our work on the European Democracy Shield. And maybe I can mention already a couple of more details, always given the context that, of course, more details will have to be revealed when we come up with our proposal for this program and with the program. In the new MFF, the Commission has proposed a full dedicated objective to the information ecosystem, focusing on news media as part of Agora EU. More details on Agora EU, Thomas can give you those. And with this, I also ask you to stay tuned, bear with us. We will have more details when the time is right.
Many thanks, Marcus. Short follow-up, Mose.
Thanks again, Marcus. I wonder if this program initiative, if it includes any legislative proposals or legislation, for example, about the protection of journalist sources, which in some countries is protected by law. Thank you.
Any more details on the program will come at a later stage. When it comes to the protection of journalists, you know we have other tools at hand. We have the EMFA, for example, that entered fully into force in August this year, and I'm also happy to give you more details on this, maybe also bilaterally.
Many thanks, Marcus. Do we have other questions for Marcus on the many important areas he covers? I do not see hands in the room nor online. Other questions for us today? Go ahead.
Thanks, Olaf. I've got Will Denslow, FSN. I've got a trade-related question and the closure of the border between Poland and Belarus. Can I get the Commission's reaction to the impact that could have when it comes to international trade? And has the Commission had any direct conversations with relevant stakeholders, namely the likes of China, obviously a huge impact when it comes to flow of goods from China into the EU? Any conversations on how to mitigate the potential impacts? Thank you.
Thanks for your question. We need to be very clear on this. In the first instance, this is a security issue. In that respect, Marcus will answer your question. And on the trade aspects, we are certainly looking at it closely, but it's too early. We're in touch with Poland on it, but it's too early to go into any further detail on that. Go ahead, Marcus.
Thank you very much. Poland's decision to fully close its borders with Belarus was notified to the Commission on 10 September. The Commission will continue to be in close contact with the Polish authorities on all aspects related to the closure of the border, and of course we will provide the necessary support. Maybe a bit of context when it comes to Poland and this border. It is crucial to recall that there are threats arising from Russia and Belarus. I think this is self-evident. The Commission is very concerned about the weaponization of migrants and the impact this has on Poland. Poland's external borders are the Union's external borders, and we need to ensure that they are fully protected against any threats to the integrity and security of our territory. These threats pose a risk to the sovereignty, national security and territorial integrity of Poland, and also to the security of the Union as a whole. You will remember the Commission has presented a communication in December 2024 that sets the legal framework for exceptional measures to tackle these threats. And I can also refer you to what President von der Leyen said when she visited Poland very recently. She said, Europe stands with Poland in all possible ways. This is why, if you take a long-term look at our proposals for the new modern European budget for the next 7 years, we are tripling investment in migration and border management and protection. Member states with a direct border with Russia and Belarus will receive additional EU funding.
Many thanks for this very comprehensive answer, Marcus. And if I may add a small trade dimension to the question you asked. Clearly, there is a trade impact when a border is shut down along which trade routes flow. We are in touch with the Polish authorities to look at all aspects of this issue, but the important thing to keep in mind here is that any trade-related challenges that arise from such a security situation are happening because of Russia's brutal, illegal and unjustifiable war and its comrades in arms in Belarus. So the solution to this would be for them to end their war. And we repeat from this podium, as we have done many, 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 many times and continue to do, please end your war. Any more questions for Marcus as we have him up here? Jorge.
Well, it's more for you, I think, because you said you're in touch with the Polish authorities. Have you also received any sort of communication or request from the Chinese government, which is also very concerned about this issue, this closure? Thank you.
Thanks for your question, Jorge. I'll have to double-check that and come back to you in terms of the Commission, but we do know that there has been discussion between the Polish authorities and China on this, as is appropriate, and I will find out for certain and to let you know if we have been in touch from the Commission side with the Chinese authorities. Other questions for Marcus as he has returned in glory to the podium? I don't see any hands in the room nor online. Other questions for us today on other topics? Go ahead.
Hello, Luca Hachite, Formula TV Georgia. So Commissioner Kos started her South Caucasus tour, but she will not visit Georgia. Just to clarify the motivation behind this decision, of course we remember that strategy not to have any direct contact with the Georgian Dream government, but why not use that opportunity to support, for example, political prisoners, activists, civil society organizations and media in Georgia? Thank you.
The question is from Luca, but I don't see him. You're here. Sorry. Hi. So first, on the visit of Commissioner Kos to Armenia and Azerbaijan, this is really to be seen in the context of the peace process between the two countries. So it is really a pivotal moment for the South Caucasus region, and Commissioner Kos is traveling in the region, and she will use the opportunity to reaffirm really the EU's strongest commitment to this peace process and the full regional normalization. She will also travel with a clear and strong message from our side, is that there's now an opportunity for us to reinforce our ties with the region and to reinforce the EU cooperation in the region. And more specifically, you mentioned the Black Sea strategy in the context of our connectivity agenda in the region. And this is really important for us because we believe it would actually contribute to the whole region as well and to the population. When it comes to the situation in Georgia, I mean, our position is really well known. Anita has expressed several times our position on Georgia. So we have serious concerns regarding the recent democratic backsliding, moving the country further away from the EU path.
Thank you, Marcus. Any questions? Not to Marcus, Guillaume. My apologies. I get confused sometimes. Any other questions for Guillaume on the areas he covers? I don't see hands in the room. I do not see hands online. Any other questions for us today, dear friends? That is not the case. We wish you a good afternoon. I remind you that President von der Leyen gave a speech earlier today in Germany where she is presenting our competitiveness agenda. We encourage you to have a look at it, and we wish you a good day. Thank you.